This is the 18 Strong Podcast, episode number 44.
Welcome to the 18 Strong Podcast, where you get direct access to the world's greatest experts on training harder, practicing smarter, and playing better golf. Now, here's your host, Jeff Pellizzero.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jeff Pellizzero, golf fitness professional and physical therapist, and host of the 18 Strong Podcast. I want to thank you for joining me today and listening to the show. We've got a great guest. I had the pleasure of interviewing Lindsay Manion from Vancouver, British Columbia. She's one of the top strength coaches and golf fitness professionals up in the northern region. And she works at the Tour Performance Lab with some of our other 18 Strong friends, Chris Lutz, Jason Glass, and is just doing some very good things, working with a lot of juniors, a lot of collegiate level golfers. And Lindsay is actually a tremendous player herself. She played collegiate golf, has some championships to her name. And so she's going to share with us today the importance of warming up for your round of golf. And I know that we've all kind of heard that we need to warm up, but Lindsay's going to tell us some of the ways that we can do it properly, what are some of the wrong ways, some of the right ways, and why it's so important. You know, how it's going to help you prevent injury, how it's going to help you improve your round, and really just kind of get started right off the first tee. So she's got some great personal stories about her own career and the things that she did in order to really kind of take her career to the next level. And then as well as some of the stories that she has from her clients and the changes that just adding a small little warm-up routine has made for them, really in order to allow one of her guys to play almost pain-free golf and not quit the game, but continue to love the game and play very well and continue to play and go on different travels and trips and things like that. So we've got some great stuff from Lindsay, and I'm very happy to say that she is going to be one of the featured coaches on the 18 Strong YouTube channel. So by all means, I'm going to post a video on her show notes page. So when you go to 18 Strong and go to Lindsay Manion's page, you'll see that. But you can also go over to YouTube and check out our channel over there. We've started to put out some very great content, putting out at least 2 videos a week. So if you haven't checked it out, please do so. And give us some feedback. Let us know what questions you have, you know, what kind of videos you want us to put out, what are some of the different exercises, or, you know, we're looking to provide you with whatever you need, whatever questions you have. We want to help you. We want to be the answer. We want to turn 18 Strong into the greatest golf fitness website out there. I know that's a pretty big statement, but that's the plan. So thank you guys for showing up. I know you're going to enjoy this episode with Lindsay Manion, and I'll catch you on the other side. Hey, Lindsay, welcome to the 18 Strong Podcast, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I know that we've been talking back and forth, and we wanted to get you on to talk about a topic that I think is very imperative and kind of has been a little bit non-existent with a lot of golfers, and that's the process of actually warming up for your round of golf. But before we jump into the main topic of the show today, I want to just give the audience a little background on you. You and I met out in California at the World Golf Fitness Summit, and you work with a couple of the other guests we've had on the show, Jason Glass and Chris Lutz, up at the Tour Performance Lab in British Columbia. You're a collegiate champion golfer, one of the top strength coaches up in Canada, working with a lot of golfers and collegiate players. And I'm very happy to say one of the soon-to-be featured golf fitness coaches on the 18 Strong YouTube channel. So welcome to the show. And I know we've got some exciting stuff to talk about today, but I want you, if you could, give us a little background on your playing career and then how you kind of got tied in with the Performance Lab and then what brought you to where you are today.
This is a lengthy story, but I'll try to cut it down a little bit. So my background with golf, I started playing golf when I was about 15 years old. I played a lot of other sports before then, but I decided to continue with golf when I graduated, and I got my way to Douglas College for 1 year and then transferred over to the University of British Columbia up here in Vancouver, Canada, our local school, and played 3 years there. And I met some of my best friends there, best teammates, awesome coaches. I met Jason Glass. He was our strength coach there. Had an awesome career there. some individual success, but ultimately a lot of team success. We won, I guess it was 3 Canadian national titles and 1 American NAIA national title while I was there. So had a lot of great experience, learned a lot. And actually when I graduated in our human kinetics program, Jason Glass, of course, was like, Linz, like, you got to come work for us at the Tour Performance Lab. Like, this is perfect for you. So somehow I got super lucky. I landed a job, something I'm very passionate about, and lo and behold, became TPI certified, and combined my passion, with my educational background, and have been working here ever since. I guess it's about 4 years now that I've been with the lab, and I've come across a lot of awesome players and awesome coaches. I work with really, really awesome people, so very, very fortunate to be in the position I am.
Yeah, I've had the chance, obviously, to meet and, connect with several of the people from the Performance Lab. And you guys are just doing a lot of great things up there. And I know you guys, it always seems like you have so much fun up there. You've got a lot of juniors and a lot of collegiate players and just a lot of high-level players. But, I know that you guys are always having fun in the gym, and you've had some great experiences working up there. One being going to the U.S. Open here at Chambers Bay just recently. I'd like you to kind of share a little bit of your experience going out there. And were you there just for fun, or were you working with a player? And, what was your week like?
Well, actually, I was there just for the Thursday, Friday. I was up there with a client. We were there simply just to watch golf. Now, of course, being in the industry, I ran into a lot of different people there, which is hard to believe because there's so many people there, but definitely ran into some people. Now, the experience was very cool. I thought the golf course was awesome. I did hear a lot of complaints, but again, being a player, especially when you hear complaints from players, I found that very, very weird that they would complain about uncontrollable elements like that. Like, everyone's playing the same golf course, and basically the person that plays it the best is going to win the golf tournament. So that I found particularly interesting. I got to watch some of the guys practice, and again, Jordan Spieth, funny enough, looked the most focused on the practice facility. I watched him a couple of days there, and he had his head down. It was just him and his caddy. He was in his own little world. I did see other guys kind of chatting away and shaking hands, buddy stuff, but I found that very interesting. And it's funny, I did want Jordan Spieth to win. He was a guy that I had picked for the week. Unfortunately, it was kind of sad to see Dustin Johnson lose like that. And that's something that I think every player can feel for him. I know I've definitely choked on various occasions, but especially a 3-putt on 18, that's got to be hard, and I'm sure he's trying to get over that now. But overall, the experience was awesome. I was happy I got to see Tiger Woods. That was someone that I've always wanted to see. Now, from what I see of him and his presence, he still commands a ton of respect. The crowds that he attracts, very, very positive. The guy walks with such dominance and intensity, and unfortunately his game isn't following that. I hope he comes back, though. But yeah, altogether, awesome experience. Part of me really, really wanted to play that golf course, and it definitely made me miss playing in tournaments. So,
yeah, it seemed like such a challenging course, and there were complaints here and there were many compliments of the course as well from different sides. I think the USGA came at it with, hey, just like always, this is going to be a tournament where guys are going to grind it out. Guys are going to have to be mentally prepared, and the guy who's most mentally prepared, most physically prepared, and is able to stay in it all week is going to end up the champion. And it's cool to hear that you saw Jordan, you kind of noticed that, and I think we've seen that in a lot of his past tournaments. And at the Masters, he's a very focused individual, puts in a lot of time and effort ahead of time. And the whole tournament demands a lot from your body. And so let's transition a little bit into what we wanted to talk about today, and that's the idea of being prepared for your round and getting ready and set before you go out and you hit that first tee box. And I know you've got some personal stories to share with us about warming up, but and so let's dive into that. And let's just talk about the importance, first of all, of being prepared, and then we'll get into some of the specifics as we go.
Okay. So some of the importance of warming up is simply just to get your body ready, to get your body energized. And lo and behold, you actually get your mind energized. It's something that I find, especially for amateurs and local players, it hasn't been a very popular thing to do yet. Like, unless you've had a coach or someone that's introduced it to you, it's still not a super popular thing just yet. Idea behind it is, again, you get some blood flow to your muscles, you get dynamic, you want to feel stable, powerful, explosive when you actually address the golf ball. And again, like I said, to feel energized. And that's something that a lot of other athletes would probably agree with before they play. Basketball players, they're doing 30 to an hour warm-ups before they go play. Now, just because golfers aren't running around, bouncing around when we play, doesn't mean that we shouldn't warm up and be dynamic before we warm up. So, actually, I have a personal story about this and why I'm so passionate about actually warming up before you play golf. When I was at UBC playing college golf, I was a player that was very kinesthetic and also came from a bigger sport background. So I always found that when we had an 8 a.m. shotgun, we were up at 5:30, rolled out of bed, eat breakfast, and you head straight to the range. I never felt fully prepared, physically and mentally. And eventually down the road, I tried to develop my own little warm-up. And that usually included me kind of running around and doing push-ups on the driving range. And I had my teammates, other players look at me like it was crazy. I also had on occasion, I actually did push-ups near the first tee box if that's what it was going to take. And obviously, probably not the most efficient thing, but the idea was that I was getting blood flow, I was getting energy through my body. I wanted to feel active and explosive and pumped up to play. And so that was kind of where I was heading with that. And it was not until I became TPI certified, started working at the Tour Performance Lab, that I really started to harness in on what was required from the body in the golf swing. And I started to add various elements of mobility and stability exercises that would help me specifically get adjusted before I played golf. And I'm actually at a point now where if I had an option, if I had to choose between hitting a quick 20 balls or warming up in the gym for 20 minutes, I would take the gym warm-up every single time. And that's how important it is to me, and I hope that everyone else finds that importance as well in a dynamic warm-up.
Yeah, we see with so many different sports, and like you said, because most sports you run around, you're active, you're going to be cutting or pivoting, playing basketball or soccer or all these different things. But even in those sports, when you get to the level where it's no longer maybe collegiate ball or it's more the weekend warrior type, which most of the golfers that are probably listening to this podcast are more of your weekend golfers. Some very high level amateurs where they're still working a full-time job, but we tend, and even in the basketball and soccer and things like that, you see guys go out there and they kind of walk around and maybe do a little light jog and some hamstring stretches and whatnot, but they don't really necessarily warm up, and they're not necessarily preventing what could happen on the course, and that's why we see a lot of these different injuries. What are some of the things that we should really start to focus on specifically for our golf game in order to be prepared for what's going to happen when you hit that first tee?
Well, to be specific, obviously we want to be the most specific. Everyone's very, very different. And so I will start off by saying to everyone that is looking to get a proper warm-up, they should get TPI assessed by their TPI medical or fitness professional. Get assessed, find out what your body isn't so good at, find out where you're limited, and from there, get a plan made as far as a regular workout regimen, and then address some of those limitations, add some of those mobility and stability exercises that are going to help you during your golf round, especially if there's something that you struggle with. Address those struggles, add them into your warm-up, and carry on from there. But I'll give you an example. Some common things that people might struggle with: S posture, for example. I feel like that's a pretty big one for common golfers or weekend warriors. S posture, meaning your lower back is too arched in your setup. Now, an example of a few exercises that you can include specifically to help out S posture is pelvic tilt progressions, something that's on the TPI website. We can do a nice hip flexor stretch, make sure the front side of you is nice and mobile. Bench bird dogs, and just addressing your golf posture with a neutral tilt. Just little things like that. Say, for example, you wanted to feel more solid in your lower body, to be more grounded, and to ensure that your lower body isn't going to break down in your backswing. You can do something like a leg wall press, or perhaps X walks, for example. There's a ton of different things you can do, but again, to be really specific and to harness in what you may need individually to get yourself prepared, I would highly advise getting assessed by a TPI medical professional or fitness professional and building a program from there.
Yeah, I think we talk about this a lot on the show, the importance of taking the time, spending the money, even if it's just to go get that one evaluation, that one assessment, and get a few ideas of, okay, where are you limited? What are some of your struggles? Because, we go out, we hit balls, and we can kind of feel, some people are better than others at feeling what's going on with their body, knowing where their restrictions are, or, you know where you have pain, but that doesn't always necessarily mean that that's where your issue is. So, you're having some low back pain, but it could be your hip that's causing you the trouble. So to go and get evaluated is definitely a very beneficial thing. But for some of us, and I know a lot of the golfers out there, I know a lot of people that I talk to, they're just not necessarily going to go get evaluated. But, just to have an idea of some of the things that might be very simple, give us, maybe like 2 or 3 quick things. Say, okay, most guys pull up to the golf course, they've got 10 minutes before they tee off. And most of the time they'll bang 10 balls. They'll go to the putting green and, hit 3-4 putts, and then they're off and running. So let's say they decide, okay, this warm-up thing is worth it. I'm going to take those 10 minutes or maybe even 5 minutes. What are just a couple simple things that they can do just for a general golfer or for a general warm-up when they get out of the car?
Okay, well, when they get out of the car, especially being seated, you're going to step a leg backwards. You're going to go into a neutral tilt with your pelvis. You're going to do a hip flexor stretch. Alternate with both legs. That is hands down one of the most important ones. After that, I would say you can go into a side lunge on both sides and making sure you do a few reps on each side. And, of course, I'm sure you could probably find a wall somewhere, but one of my favorites are wall presses with your hands. Again, trying to lock down your shoulder blades and pushing into the wall as hard as you can. There are various hand positions. You can have your hands face up, face down, and palms flat on the wall. And, again, pushing into the wall for about 15 to 30 seconds in each position. And then we do the exact same thing with your legs. So you'd be standing next to the wall, left knee and hip on the wall, trying to really push your knee and hip as hard as you can into that wall. And again, hold for about 30 seconds, turn around, face the other way. Basically, the idea of this is you're also getting your hips stabilized and engaged. So again, when you set up to the golf ball, you should feel pretty dynamic, pretty athletic, and pretty engaged.
And for all of you guys out there, Lindsay does have a great video that we're going to put out in the next couple of days. So go to the YouTube channel, 18 Strong, on YouTube, and she's got a great little, I think it's maybe a 6 to 10 minute video on, how to properly warm up. And she does, some of the dynamic drills, some of the stretches, some of those type of things. So you can get some great visuals of, what this actually looks like. And I know that some people are going to be thinking, well, am I really going to be doing this on the driving range? But I mean, Lindsay just said, she was doing push-ups when she didn't really realize what she was doing, which, first of all, I think would be a great intimidation tactic when, you just see this gal cranking out push-ups before she's getting ready to rip a drive. But what do you think it is that has made this such a kind of a non-existent factor? What kind of qualms does the golfer have to not warm up properly and get this done when we know that it's so important?
Honestly, I think it's just been that golf has been taken for granted as far as requiring maybe athletic ability. I find just because golf is a very casual social event for a lot of people, hasn't necessarily been taken so seriously. And I believe the golf world is changing, obviously. Fitness has been on the uprising. I think Tiger Woods has done a great job of that. He's changed the world a little bit with that. I think we're still kind of trying to adjust to see if a warm-up is going to be included. For our weekend warriors, I think sometimes it might just be they don't know what to do. So awareness of what to do for a warm-up. I think everyone wants to play their best. I know I've had people complain, oh, Linz, I started off so poorly. I didn't start hitting the golf ball well until about the 5th hole, and they just seem a little stranded. So it might just be a little bit of awareness and knowledge. And I hope that, again, we can shed some light on just some simple things that everyone can do before they play. I have some pretty good stories about that. I have a client who is about a 15 handicap, and he came in to see me almost out of panic. He actually was a gentleman that was in a lot of pain when he played golf. He was taking 4 to 6 Advil around and was just struggling to get by. And this is the thing, the guy is so passionate about golf. And he came in to me, he's like, Linz, I am on the verge of quitting. I can't take this anymore. This is not fun. I'm in a lot of pain. And so again, we went through our assessment program. We identified some issues that he was having. And funny thing is after we were done the assessment, he's like, so Linz, he's like, just so you know, I'm going to Palm Springs in a week. He's like, what can we do until then? I'm like, okay, dude, you're asking me to work, some magic here. But okay, so we'll set up one session before you leave. I'll see you in the gym. I'll also have you do some exercises at home. And I'm going to show you in your first workout how to warm up before you play golf. Okay, and so he was good with that. He agreed. And anyways, off he goes on his trip. And he emails me halfway through, and I guess the first day he was down there, him and his buddies ventured out and played 36 holes. He emailed me, and of course, when I see the email, I'm like, oh God, what happened? But I opened the email, and he's like, Linz, he's like, you are awesome. I was like, what? What did you do? He's like, I played so well, I didn't have any pain. I didn't even take any Advil. And I was like, that is a win in itself, sir. Good for you. Congratulations, that makes me happy. So when he came back, he was just ecstatic. He's still playing golf. He's happy. He's feeling a lot better. And you know what? I told him to be consistent with his warm-up. He's been consistent. He wants to add more elements into his warm-up now. He's so enthused. So that makes me happy.
Yeah, that's awesome, because that that when you have that kind of a response, the compliance factor is going to go up so much. And just adding that little warm up in, I mean, really, basically what you're doing is some corrective exercises in many respects, and that can in itself take care of a lot of the issues, or at least start to bridge the gap of, what some of the issues are that may be causing your pain. And I think you mentioned it, a lot of times we don't feel like we're warmed up or we're hitting the ball right until like the fifth hole, sixth hole. Well, if you take that extra 10 minutes before you warm up, you kind of prime the muscles, and you can kind of negate that 5-hole warm-up period that you normally have and start it fresh from the first tee. I think we out at the World Golf Fitness Summit, there were a couple guys, Ben Langdon and Jack Wells, a couple guys from over in the UK, I believe, and they've done some research. They're sports scientists for the PGA Training Academy, and some of their research was just on doing a 5-minute little warm-up with some resistance bands. And some of the results that they had were people, going from hitting 10 balls cold off the driving range. Then I think they tested them at another time, did a little warm-up with the resistance bands or just a dynamic warm-up. And in both scenarios, I mean, people were driving a ball, another 30, 40 yards simply by adding that little warm-up in. It just kind of changes your timing, changes your activation. And is that something that you noticed when you were playing, and do you continue to notice that with your players that you're working with now?
Absolutely. That's actually some feedback that I get all the time is, I've never hit the golf ball so well. I can't believe, how awesome I played. Like, I just felt awesome out there, so energized. And, I've had a few juniors come back after doing a consistent 2-day routine at our home track. And, of course, a few of them won the home tournament. And just the feedback and to see their enthusiasm, to see how positive it was, is super huge. Same thing with some of my university players. And I actually have a Canadian Tour player that up until this year, he always told me he had a slow start. It's like, Linz, I'm having slow starts. I just never feel that ready. And lo and behold, we introduced him a customized warm-up routine. And, he's played really, really awesome this year. He's won a few events. He's had quite a bit of success. And just has been more consistent with his ball striking and the way he handles himself out on the golf course. So all positive things. And, I can't emphasize this enough for all levels of players. This stuff works. Spend 5 to 10 minutes doing a warm-up. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. You don't even need any equipment. All you need is your body, maybe a wall. That is it.
And what would you suggest outside of the exercise portion? A lot of times people go out onto the range or the putting green before the round, and I feel like they just don't have any real direction, and myself included. I know I've been guilty of this. I'll go out to the driving range, I'll do some of my dynamic stretches and warm-ups, and then, get up to where the balls are and start hitting some balls. Do you have any drills for people to do just to kind of get focused, get set, and get ready for the round, both on the driving range and when putting?
On a driving range, well, we do have another little warm-up. We do some leg swings and some upper body rotations with your lower body grounded. And then when you actually get into your golf swings, you're ready. Now, something that I've always loved to do is hit a few wedges, hit different distance wedges. When you get up into your mid-irons, hit some punch shots. I find that often a lot of players lose sequencing in their pelvic area right through impact. I find that if you start to work on a few little punch shots with different clubs, just shaping the ball, your body's going to want to sequence the same way as it just did in a punch shot. So again, working on tempo and that sort of thing. But I find that once you've done your gym warm-up and your on-range warm-up, just going through a few little drills like that is super, super beneficial. And as far as putting goes, everyone's very unique. And we'll go back to the U.S. Open here. I saw Tiger Woods doing the one-handed putting drills, doing a few short putts, a few distance putts, left hand, right hand, just getting some feel back. I find that the more I personally warm up, the more feel I start to have in my hands. So putting becomes a lot easier as well.
Yeah, going back to the U.S. Open, what did you see kind of out there? Did you see many guys doing some dynamic warm-up and stretches, and did you also see any guys that were kind of doing it, not, I wouldn't say wrong, but not necessarily the way that you would recommend? Was there still a big variance of what these guys are doing while they're out there?
Honestly, I didn't see too many dynamic warm-ups. I believe they're probably in their tents, probably doing that with their staff. Again, they're fortunate enough to have a team around them to help them warm up and that sort of thing. I did see them, again, hit various shots on the driving range and get warmed up in a different way. Every player is a little bit different. So unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to see the players do a physical warm-up, but again, their golf shots and their little routine on the range was, they're all pretty consistent. They hit wedges, they hit different shape shots, they hit punch shots, high shots, low shots, everything. So pretty consistent.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, Lindsay, as we close down the stretch here, I got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
First and foremost, are you a Caddyshack or Happy Gilmore fan?
Happy Gilmore.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
You know what? Unfortunately, in the past, my behavior hasn't been the best. I blame it on Happy Gilmore.
Oh, blame it on the movies.
I blame it on the movies.
All right. What has you excited about what's going on in your career this upcoming year and what you guys have going on at the Tour Performance Lab?
Tour Performance Lab, right now, we've just moved into our summer schedule with our juniors. A lot of our juniors are off to the races as far as success in tournaments. I think that's going to be a huge year for everyone. So I'm really excited for them. I'm also taking a few of our juniors on a trip in August up to a junior tournament, BC Juveniles, so U16 kids. I also am the strength coach for our BCGA team that's heading to the Western Canada Summer Games. Unfortunately, I'm not traveling, but I am on assistance. Coach Matt Paulsenbarg is actually heading there. He's the head coach, so that's going to be exciting. I'm playing a little bit. I'm playing pro amateur match play league. I have a pro partner. She's awesome golfer. I learn a lot from her. She played on the LPGA for a few years. Anyways, we always shock a few of the other lady teams that we play against because we have a significant advantage off the tee. We both bomb it pretty far. I'd say we hit it 260 plus on average.
Nice.
So, yeah, everyone gets a little frightened, especially when I bust out push-ups on the tee box there.
Yeah, I think I'd be a little frightened when you're driving balls past me and doing more push-ups than I can on the driving range.
I'm kidding. I don't do that anymore. I've learned better.
Better techniques.
And then what else we got? Come September, I'm working with a few different high school golf academies. Now, the coolest part about this whole thing is we've actually had more interest in the program. There's a lot more kids trying to come into the program, which is so awesome. Again, part of my job is to help grow the game as well, the game I love. So that's really cool. So high school programs expanding. UBC, our local university, I'll be back with them come September. So lots of new faces and some returning faces. Hoping to have another good year. And then what else do we got coming up here? You know what? I'm not too sure. I think that's about it as far as I can see. I don't have any trips planned, but I am hoping to do some sort of continuing education, and of course, continuing to learn is one of my favorite things. And hopefully, I meet up with you again in the near future. So
yeah, they're having a big DNS seminar here in St. Louis in September. I think a few of the crew are coming to St. Louis, so you're more than welcome to join the club.
I'll have to look into the details. That might be on my next travel trip.
That would be awesome. Well, you guys always have a ton of things going on up there, and I love seeing how you work with the youth, the high school players and younger. Like you said, you guys really are helping to grow the game. And I can tell just by, the videos that I see of you and Chris and Matt and Jay working with all the different players. They love going and seeing you guys, and you guys are doing so many good things, working with them, making them stronger golfers, and really just kind of making them appreciate the game even more. I know that you've been a very early supporter of the 18 Strong podcast and website, so I want to get your definition of the term 18 Strong.
My definition of 18 Strong, so if I take it literally, 18 holes of golf, you got to be strong enough for it, you got to be athletic enough for it. Make sure you train, make sure you get assessed first, be the best golfer you can be, and have some fun.
I love it. And one last thing, if you have any last pieces of advice for the audience, go ahead and give that, and then tell them where they can find you and learn more about you in the Tour Performance Lab. Perfect.
Last little note here is, guys, make sure you can control what you can. If staying in good condition physically is a goal on your list, make sure you seek out professionals. Make sure you have fun with the game. I know I've certainly burnt out in the past, but this game is one of the most unique I've ever played. It has taught me so much about life, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. So make sure you guys have fun and get a good team behind you.
Excellent. And where can the audience find more about you and the lab?
The audience, the beautiful 18 Strong people, the community, they can find me at thetourperformancelab.com. I have a bio. My email address is lindsay@thetourlab.com. You can also follow me on Instagram, lmperformance13 or lmanion13. So they're both connected, but you'll be able to find me. Again, social media, Lindsay Manion, that's Manion. And I look forward to posting a bunch of different social media stuff and, again, helping to expand the 18 Strong community.
Absolutely. And, of course, they'll be able to find you very soon on the 18 Strong YouTube channel. Some videos on quite a few different things. I know we've got a few of them that you have recorded, and we'll be posting those up in the next coming weeks. So make sure you guys go over to the YouTube channel, and I'll have links to all the stuff, all of Lindsay's profiles and social media, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Lindsay, I can't thank you enough for coming on to the show and sharing your wisdom, sharing some of your experiences that you've had as both a player and as a coach. I know that the 18 Strong listeners will get a lot out of this, and especially when they get to see your videos and some of the dynamic warm-ups and things that you've got, they're going to get a ton out of it. So thank you for coming on.
Hey, no worries, Jeff. Great being here. Thanks for having me.
All right, look forward to talking to you soon.
Take care.
All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed Lindsay's interview and got a few more ideas as far as what you can do to really prepare yourself properly before you head out to the first tee. I'm just as guilty as the rest of you. There are many times where I'm rushing to the course, hop out of the car, do a couple lunges, couple air swings, and off and running. But if you are really serious about taking your game to the next notch, you have to prepare properly. You see the guys out on tour, they spend hours getting ready for their round of golf to prepare their bodies. And as Lindsay said, take control of the things that you can control. Our body, our physical health is one of those things. There's so many things that can happen on the golf course that can either go your way or not go your way. But when you prepare, you're taking care of some of those things that you have control over. And that's your flexibility, that's your movement, that's your pain level. And as you can see, as Lindsay talked about the one story with the gentleman that she has, sometimes just adding in that little piece can make a huge difference in the way that you play the game and whether you continue to play the game for a long time. So take some of these tips, go over to Lindsay's page on 18 Strong or go to the 18 Strong YouTube channel, check out her warm-up video, which I'll have posted up probably Not the day that this show airs, but the next day at least. But I'm sure many of you guys will be listening to this, and that video will be live. So be sure to go over and check that out. And then take a peek at some of the other videos that we have on the 18 Strong YouTube channel. And again, let us know what you want us to put out there. We're going to be creating a lot more content with a lot of different coaches, not just myself. So we have a lot of people in our arsenal. So thank you guys for showing up for the 18 Strong podcast, and I look forward to catching you all next week. Don't forget to train hard, practice smart, and play better golf.
Thanks for listening to the 18 Strong podcast at www.18strong.com. And remember, train hard, practice smart, and play better golf.